Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, founder of a revolutionary medical sales training and mentorship program called the Medical Sales Career Builder, and I'm also host of the Medical Sales Podcast. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire world. It doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing and diagnostic lab, you name it, you will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 10% performer within your role, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. And remember, I am a medical sales expert sharing my own opinion about this amazing industry and how it can change your life. Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, and today we have with us another special guest, and he goes by the name of Stéphan Toupin. So what makes Stéphan unique is that he was a sales rep once upon a time that became a pharmaceutical sales rep that then started his own medical device distributorship, and more than 10 years later has this thriving medical device one-stop shop that helps companies from all over the world bring their devices into the US market. Right. Sales rep to pharma to med device business owner that is now helping all kinds of companies all over the world, big and small, bring companies into the US market. He's thriving. He has a team and he has a couple locations. How does someone like that make that happen? How do we even process the moves he made to get to where he got to? And of course, that's what this episode's all about. So if you're someone that's ever thought about being in a distributorship, if you're someone that's thinking, do I want pharma? Do I want med device? If you're someone that's in pharma or med device and you're thinking, what other avenues are there for me to explore that maybe utilize more of my entrepreneurial passion, this is absolutely the episode for you. As always, we do our best to bring you guests or do things differently in the medical sales space. So make sure you listen carefully, and I really do hope you enjoy this interview. Tell us who you are, give us your name, your title, and then I want to know the story, like what happened, and let's just talk about it.
Yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for having me first of all. Well, my name is Stéphan Toupin. I know it's not easy for people here in the US to say my name. It's not Stephen, it's Stéphane. I'm French Canadian, so you will see by my accent, I'm not from the US. I grew up in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, in Canada. I did my bachelor degree in medical biology, a master in experimental medicine. So my background, it was always very scientific, if I can say. And I started a PhD, and I realized I was not a rad lab, type of person.
So you're in school, finish undergrad, and you start a PhD.
Yeah.
And this is all in Canada.
Yeah. And I realized that was not for me. So I started to look to get into the pharma, like you as a sales rep. I got a job, quickly got a promotion when, did sales, marketing, different stuff, different company, almost for 17 years in pharma.
You're jumping ahead. So PhD, you're like, nah. How did pharma, what happened?
Well, and the thing is that when you do a bachelor degree in medical biology, there's tons of stuff that you can do with your bachelor degree and with the master, for example. And I had a lot of people that I knew that they went into pharma. And even if more background is more medical, the sales part was always interesting for me. I thought that, I had something in me that, I couldn't use to sales, in pharma. So I just contacted a couple of my friends that were already in sales in pharma, and got an interview with a small company at the time that was Zeneca. That was before the merger with Astra, so that's a long time ago. And I got a sales rep position, and that's how I started in sales in pharma at that time.
So, undergrad, semi PhD education, now a new rep. What were you seeing? What was the mindset? Was it like, I'm just going to go in here and do what I can? Or I want to be a manager as soon as possible? Like, what was the mindset?
Yeah, interesting question because sometimes in life things happen and you just surprised that they are happening. I don't know if it's because I was looking for it or it just you're at the right place at the right time. That's what happened for me. I was a rep for less than 2 years, and then my boss at the time moved to another position, and his position came vacant. Say, oh, well, I would like to do, to be a sales manager. So I apply and I got the job.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so I was lucky, but also that first 2 years I was rep of the year, the rookie of the year. So um and I guess my boss at the time saw something in me that I could do it. So for like 6 months I was in that temporary position. But then they gave me the full-time job. And I think what I like at that time is to empower people, to learn, and not to see only my way how to do sales, but to help them to grow. And I was, I got in that management position for many years with different company, and I I think I was a good manager because I still have good relationship with reps that still, write to me or call me for because they're interviewing to another company. Say, hey, can I give your name? So it's something that I discovered at the time that I like to be a manager to help people. So I stayed in that position for many years with different company.
What's the largest team you met?
I think it was 14 at that time. Yeah, at AstraZeneca, when we merged with Astra, we became that huge, company.
So before we move any further, let's just hang out here for a little bit because
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear how this went from pharmaceutical sales manager to med device man. But you're a manager, you have a team, you enjoy being a manager. Was the thought process, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm just going to be a manager because I like it right now? Or was the thought process, I want to continue to advance my career, I'm going to be a manager now and maybe work on becoming a regional director or something in house? What was the mindset?
Well, the interesting thing is at that time, I had kids, 2 kids, and when you look at Canada, it's a wide country, and I was in the province of Quebec, in Quebec City. It was very difficult to think to get another position without having to move to Toronto, for example. And for me, that was out of the question. I was not ready to bring my family to Toronto, move everyone, just to get that next level position. Yeah, I'm not that kind of person that needs to move up. I was happy with what I was doing, good money. And so I just wanted to, I think, improve my skills. One of the good thing in pharma is they train you well, and especially with at the manager position, every time you want to get a new skill or improve your skill, they will give you the opportunity to do that. So at one point, I got an offer to manage the training department in the province of Quebec. So I did. They sent me to San Diego for full training, to get that knowledge. And so, it was possible, to grow without having, to get a next level position. And that's what I decided to do, So no, my family was important. I wanted to stay in Quebec City. And I just, I think at that point you could also always try to get ask for more tasks, I'm ready to do this. If you need somebody in marketing just to help out, I'm ready to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. It's just, getting here and there, other tasks to do, to change the routine a little bit, if I can say.
Sure. So when you were a rep for 2 years, you were the number one rep twice. I love it. What what would you say are three things, and we could just speak to pharma right now, for all pharma reps hearing this, or med device reps that want to get into pharma? What are three things you say are a little bit unique that if a pharma rep is doing this, they really increase their chances for success?
That's a very good question. There's something I learned, even having, other boss, trying to tell me how to do things. One thing that I realized is that if you're not yourself, it's transparent to people. If you try to be something that you are not, there's no one way to do a sales call. So I think it has to start with you, how you are. There's some people are more technical, more pushy, whatever their style. You need to keep to be yourself. Secondly, I think you need to understand who you're talking to in front of you.
Sure.
I think sometimes in pharma and even med device, they try to put you in a can, to do this call. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to say.
Exactly. This
To
is the
do it,
script.
But before, it's like anything else. If you going on a first date, you need to know the person you have in front of you.
Right.
To need to so that's mean that you're not going to sell. You're not going to get a prescription or a PO the first time you're going to meet somebody. It takes time. You need to be patient. Take the time, to know the person in front of you, who they are, what type of person. Is it a driver? Is it more somebody who's more laid back? You need to learn that before doing anything else. And the third one would be, well, you need to know your stuff. You need to know your product. You need to know the competition. You need to know the market. I think people are expecting that. And if they ask you a question you don't know, you just, I don't know. I will come back to you.
Sure.
And you asked me three things, but I need to add a fourth one. It's about it's about the passion. I think people love to do business with people who are passionate about what they're doing. Don't be a robot. It's not about just smiling. It's just
Sure.
being. I think it goes back to being true to yourself. But passion goes a long way, I think, in sales. People like that. I do.
Right. Right. No, I'm right there with you. I think when people, when any uh, physician or nurse or anyone that's a healthcare provider sees that you really do care about the patient and your passion is for the success of this patient,
Yeah.
it's a completely different type of experience. So I couldn't agree more. Okay, so you're the manager. You thank you for that. Those were great. And for those of you listening, please be taking notes. So what happened? You're this manager. Life is good. You're making good money. You're leading teams. You're living your best life. Where did this med device bug enter your life?
Yeah, it's interesting. I call it you're going on the dark side of the sales, getting med device. Um, I think it's usually harder. It seems harder for sales in pharma to go to med device. I don't know
Explain
why.
it down for us. You're right, but I want people to hear exactly why from your perspective.
Um, I think it's related to the fact that um, med. I think in pharma you will have okay, you have like three product to detail. You learn your product, you know them inside out. Med device, it's more complicated, I think, depending on the type of product. Also, you have to deal with more different people. You will have to deal with value analysis committee in hospital, at least here in the US. You will have to deal with purchasing, the administration. There's a lot of other people that you need to talk to in med device. It's not only the physician in pharma that you trying to sell for him to prescribe your product. So I think it's a little bit more complex. And I guess for some, and as a, because I remember when I was a sales rep, sitting on a waiting room, for hours to see a physician, um, med device, you could be waiting, but in the OR because for your turn, to be there to help the physician. Um, I think I prefer the med device because you're closer really to help the physician, helping them to help their patient. I think that that's the huge difference in that sense. Um, but to come back to your question, why, how did it happen that I moved to med device? What happened is that at that time, um, a couple of years before doing that move, I hired somebody as a specialty rep in pharma. And it happened that he moved in med device and he started his own distribution company in Canada. And we already had, a good relationship. He was calling me all the time. He said, "Hey, you should move. You should come work with me in med device." I said, "You know what? No way. You don't have enough money to pay me."
Wow. So you weren't even looking at it like
I was not.
pharma versus
I
med
was not.
device. You were looking at it like I cannot work with you because you don't got enough money to pay me. Period.
Yeah, I was like, I was a manager. I was in, like I said, in a nice position, nice job, nice money. I say, no, no, no. But I got tired of being a manager, being in pharma. I grew in pharma where at the beginning it was easy to meet physician, to talk, and organize CME. It got so restricted that it was less fun at the time. And after being a manager, some 15 years, I got tired
Yeah.
of this. I needed a change in my life. And I think it came to me at a good time at that point. It took me 2 years to say yes.
Was it him hampering on you, or were you just getting more intrigued by med device?
I was totally yes, because what he was asking me to do at the beginning is really to look at a new product that he wanted to bring in Canada and meet physician specialists and talk with them to see if that product will be a good fit in their practice. So I was going back to that um, with my background in medical science, reading, because I always like to read scientific paper, go through and, analyze it and extract information. That was something that I always liked to do. So it was bringing me back there um, and meet specialists. That was more interesting also for me than just primary care.
Sure.
So it was a good timing where I was tired of pharma, and that kind of a new job he was offering me was kind of interesting. So I said yes. It was a huge. I was shaking taking that decision because it's, oh my God, what am I getting into? Um, Actually, I lowered my income for the first 2 years, but it was okay. I was enjoying that new challenge, and what happened is that I also at the same time started my own distribution company, still working with him, but doing some stuff on the side, and that's how it started slowly.
Wait. See, you can't. No, I am not letting. Yeah, so I started working with him, and then casually I started a whole another guy. No,
Yeah,
we're not glazing over that. But before we attack the details of what happened there,
yeah,
you know, people that are listening right now, a lot of them are either in pharma, in medical device, or want to be in either,
yeah,
or something along the lines like medical supplies or diagnostic or testing or something. Tell us money. I know that it might have changed, and I'm even 5 years ago, it's different than what it was 10 years ago versus 15 years ago. But just so people have context, what kind of money were you making as a sales rep sales manager, and then what kind of pay cut did you take to get into that med device world? And if you're not comfortable give us a number, give us a range.
Well, at that time, as a sales rep, depending on the the commission structure, and that's another discussion, obviously, how they
Whole
set
other
up
podcast.
quota. You're good one year, the next year, you're at the bottom.
Right,
But
right.
everybody's used to that, when you're in sales. But as a sales rep, it was easy to have entry salary at 75 grand, for example, and with $25,000 commission. I think that was feasible, and it's still feasible, obviously,
Yeah, so
today.
that's pretty common today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, as a sales manager, obviously, you start, the six figure number as a manager, at least. My guess now is no, people are probably higher at 150
Sure.
as salary base plus commission. So easy to make, $200,000 per year as a manager in both in pharma and in med device. Um, I know that in med device right now, especially in spine orthopedic, it's getting tougher.
Mhm.
Back a couple of years ago, people will easily make $500,000, in base salary and commission. It's not like that anymore because the way it's structured in the US, where
Hold on.
hospital.
Hold on. The US said, wait a minute, wait a minute. No, you're gonna make much less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so at that time, if I look at what I was making in pharma, I probably got $50,000, of my overall paycheck, because you have to remember that when you go in med device, especially in distribution, you don't have the same advantage that if you are in med device with Medtronic, for example, or J&J or whatever, because they have also a good benefit that you don't get when you're a distributor. So there's a difference there that you need to consider. I took that road of going to the distribution pathway from the get-go when I get in medical device. I could have just applied to Medtronic, whatever. I will have get a job and get way more money probably than I was making in pharma. But what I have to say is also at that time when I took the decision to move to med device, is I was I was never a good employee in a sense that I don't like to have a boss. It was always difficult
Struggles
for
with
me.
authority.
Yeah. So, um, and so for me, it was better to go on my own, if I can say, and build something from the ground up
So, so,
than
so, so
going.
let's go deeper though. Before we do that, what were you selling? And I know you probably sold a whole suite of products, but what was the most common product you were selling when you're in your pharma career?
In pharma.
Yeah.
So mostly cardiology and gastroenterology, and also in psychiatry. So
Okay.
there was the three big one where I had
Yeah.
product for
Different fields.
17 years.
Gastro, psych. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you transitioned to device, what field did you start into?
What do you mean by that?
So when you said I'm now gonna open up a med device company and work with my friend, what
Yeah.
was the specialty?
Um, at that time, it was more in interventional radiology and interventional cardiology and vascular surgery. And so it's very rare that you will move from pharma to med device and you will meet the same customer. It's very rare because you sell product in cardiology, but it's the regular cardiologist, the one who's seeing the patient, not the interventional cardiologist is the one is getting the patient from the cardiologist to intervene. So you started from almost from scratch. It's not the same customer. You can use your relationship you had in the past to get access to those people, but it's not the same physician for sure.
Sure. So you're entertaining your friend. You're taking a $50,000 pay cut. What gave you the comfort to say, I have responsibilities, I have kids, I have all life, and I'm going to make 50 grand less because of what?
Freedom. um and I got divorced also at that time. So it was like it was not the best
So yeah,
situation.
now we're getting to the good stuff. Okay, so life. Okay, see, these are the details people need to hear so they can understand. You need context in this life. So
Yeah.
okay, so you got divorced, and now you're like, I want to change everything. What am I gonna do? I'm assuming
Yeah.
that was a sentiment.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. And you're there in a point in your life where it's now or never. If I don't do it now, I will stay in the same position and I will feel miserable. That
Right,
was my point of view at that time.
right,
So
right.
um, I did that, even knowing that obviously I had money aside, that I can rely on if I needed. Um, because you have to buy a car. You don't have the car
Right,
that the pharma company give you. You have
right,
you so you have to put money aside for the old days. You don't have some stuff that's what pharma is so interesting. And even in med device, if you work for Medtronic or the big company, you will get that too.
sure.
That was my decision not to go that route because I didn't want to have this big corporation, to be under. I don't want to be in that square box. I want to feel more freedom. It's maybe an unusual way to switch, but that was the way that I felt that was
Well,
best fit with me.
it's so admirable because to go from farm to med device, you didn't go to work for a company and learn the ropes. You went to go start your own distributorship.
Uh,
And you have to have a lot of confidence in your own abilities. And of course you did, because wow, how could you be comfortable making that kind of decision?
well, if the only if the only thing in life for you is to make as much money as possible, you're not going to do what I did, because for me, that was not important. That was not about the money.
Sure.
It was, like I said, about the freedom, being able to decide what I want to do, what time I want to wake up in the morning, and what time I want to, finish working, and do my own schedule, choose the product I want to, because, obviously if you work for the big company, pharma, you don't choose your product. They're dumping to your desk, and then this is what you have to promote. So at least, at the distributorship, you can choose what you want to talk about and promote. So that was part of it for sure.
Was it that your friend's opportunity gave you the confidence to start this company, or you were
Yeah.
already trying to? Okay, I see. So you worked with your friend for a little bit before you ever tried to open up your own distributorship.
Yeah, because obviously that was all new for me. I didn't know, exactly what I was getting into. You can read about it, you can listen to podcasts, whatever. But to be in it is obviously totally different. But it just happened that I think I was good at it. I was happy. I was passionate about it, and everyone around me was supporting me in my decision.
So
So it was making
including your
sense.
friend, because you,
My
you had to
friend.
leave him to go do your own.
Yeah. Well, no, I still, I was since a couple of weeks ago, I was still, doing
Oh, okay.
some work with, and yeah, yeah, I kept that relationship until recently.
So the company you started was not in competition with your friend. It was ancillary, completely different.
Yeah, yeah, no, we were kind of working together in that
Okay, so
sense.
okay, that's
Yeah,
cool. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm asking this because I'm thinking, was it like, I don't want to do pharma. I want to, life is going to look different now. I'm going to make some new decisions. Yes, I'll work with you. You're working with a friend, and then was it, wow, this is a lot of legs. You know what? I want to start my own thing, or did it kind of happen differently?
It was very organic, if I can say. I mean, I've learned. It gave me some opportunity to look at some product, and so I'm going to help you out. So it was that partnership that was working, and it worked for many years. It worked for 11 years that we were doing that kind of work. So if I was going to a convention and was seeing some product, I say, hey, you know what? I saw a product, maybe it's interesting for you. So there was like that partnership. And that's partnership who actually, and I don't want to jump too much, but that brought me to the US. So yeah.
Okay, so now we have to go. All right, so so you're so okay. So Pharma Days is in Canada.
Yeah.
You're in Canada doing your thing. Your friend invites you this opportunity in, I guess, let's just say interventional radiology. You take it, you're working in that space, you start the lights come on, you're like, wait a minute, I can totally do this my own way with my own company, with my own products to choose from. And then you move to the US or no?
No.
Okay.
Well, no. Well,
Okay.
yes and no. But actually, what happened is that this a friend with this distribution company was also manufacturing some basic product in interventional cardiology, and he was asking me to train reps in Canada, his team, to do trial with physician with that device. So I was traveling in Canada doing trial in hospital. After that, he said, well, let's look for Europe, So I was traveling in Europe to find distribution in Europe and do trial in hospital. I went to Finland to do trial, for example. So, and then we started to look at the US market. So, because obviously the US market is the biggest medical device market in the world. And at that time in Canada, he had like close to 70% of market share with that specific product. So we said, let's look for the US. And I said, well, I think I can do it. So I built, a plan to start looking at the US market, being a marketing plan. And it was making sense at the time to look on the East Coast of the US for that specific product, because that's where there was a lot of cath lab. And Miami was, Florida, and especially Miami, was the place where it was also making more sense to start looking, for partnership with distributor and physician hospital. So that's how it started. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, where we built that plan and said, okay, let's go. I'm going to go 6 months in the US because as Canadian, you can be in the US for 6 months without a visa. I was not technically working, but I was here to explore the market. So that's how, I from Canada, I came to the US to launch that product. And what happened at that time is I realized that winter was not for me. So I said, I love the beach. And you know what? I'm not going back. And that's kind of what happened. I sold my house in Quebec City. I bought a condo in downtown Quebec City to keep a place there. And I packed my car and moved out to Miami.
I mean, I got to make this work.
And that's what, that I did. So, and the reason it was also a good timing, like I was saying at the beginning, sometimes it's now or never. My mom passed away 10 years ago. And my kids were old enough, my son is 30 years old. So, he was 20. So I'm old. And so the timing was great. They were on their own. My mom passed away. I said, you know what? I was ready again to a move, to try something else. And that's what I did. So that was a reason where I accepted that project. And when I realized that, after 6 months here, I said, you know what? There's something here in the US that the market is an unmet need here. And I wanted to explore that. And without jumping too far, that's how I started the company here in the US.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And I want to let you know our programs cover the entire career of a medical sales professional. From getting into the medical sales industry, to training on how to be a top performer in the medical sales industry, to masterfully navigating your career to executive level leadership. These programs are personalized and customized for your specific career and background and trained by over 50 experts, including surgeons. Our results speak for ourselves, and we're landing positions for our candidates in less than 120 days in top medical technology companies like Stryker, Medtronic, Merck, Abbott, you name it. Would you run an Ironman race without training and a strategy? You wouldn't. So why are you trying to do the same with a medical sales position? You need training, you need a strategy, and you need to visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out the application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you into the position that you've always dreamed of. Normally, we say, well, if you're committed and you're quick enough to learn what needs to be learned to make that effective, and you've been amazing at developing relationships, can help you do that. But most times it's why don't you get some experience, understand the market, understand how it works, develop those relationships, and then explore that opportunity. Considering you just jumped almost right in, why you mentioned freedom as a reason to go distributorship route. I know a number of people in distributorships, but I want to hear from you. Besides freedom, why would someone make that decision? And then I do want to hear if somebody's listening to this right now and think to themselves, whether they're a medical device rep, even in interventional radiology, or a pharma rep, or someone that wants to get in, and they've already heard and been exposed to the distributorship route. What are the benefits to doing it that way? And what is the financial expectation? Like what can you look to hopefully make one day that's going to sustain you?
Yeah. Well, obviously you need to be very, very comfortable with the risk and the unknown. And I think that's what defined a little bit my pathway is. At one point I need to take risk. I'm not comfortable, and the status quo. It needs to move. Something needs to change. That's very personal, but I think that you need to obviously freedom is the big part, but also I was looking at what's the potential here, and the potential is illimited. It's depending what you want to do with it, and that was very interesting for me to say, okay, I will take all the decision, almost all the decision. I will, like I said, I will choose a product, and I will find a way to be successful because I knew I could. Um, and especially when people look at the U.S. market and that American dream, um, it's not easy. Everybody says it's not easy, especially when you're an immigrant and you arrive here. Um, you start from scratch. It's tough. I can speak for hours about how difficult it is, but that was the risk I was taking, and I went to a steady more job in the distribution in Canada to now we have a business where we serve more than 100 foreign company to enter the U.S. market. It's going like this. It's every day. Today, I had 4 conference call before this one. 4 conference call with foreign company. I was able. I think I was the right place again at the right time, or maybe it's just I have that sense, feeling what's needed. I think it goes back to what I was telling about you need to know your customer. You need to know who you have in front of you. And after 6 months here in the US, I had that feeling that something was missing. I was talking with foreign company and I was listening to them, their difficulty, what they were looking for. And I was like, wow, I'm so surprised that they cannot find everything in one roof, And that's how I decided to start what we have right now, to being that one-stop shop for medical device who wants to enter the U.S. market. So the profit, the money I can make here is there's no limit. There's absolutely no limit.
Can't say no to that.
Yeah, so it's my own decision, but obviously it's not a 9 to 4 job. If people think that that's how it's it's not. It's not. And I think that's one of the big difference between pharma and med device is in pharma, you can have a 9 to 4 job, if I can say.
Working when the offices are open.
Yeah. Or you do CME at night, but that's not every night. And it's depending on the budget that you have. But in med device, depending on the field of expertise, but in spine, orthopedic, and a lot of others, if you work in a war, it could be weekend. It could be, I still have a distribution company in Canada, and we take contract with international company who are looking for French speaking for the province of Quebec. It's something unique, but so we get some contract just because of that. And the product that we do in the province of Quebec, it's a thrombectomy device, for DVT and PE. Well, you get called, at night, weekend. So so you have to be ready. That's a huge difference between pharma.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I was going with that, but it's
you kind of concluded it already.
Yeah.
And you were just highlighting the biggest differences, and you were speaking to the financial opportunity in that it's literally unlimited, and at the end of the day, you have to work for that. You have to whatever your number is, you got to work for it.
Yeah, I leave my home, at 6:37 in the morning to come into the office, and I'm always the last one, to leave because that's my own business. Well, I have employees, but obviously it's my own business, so it's long hours. But the thing, what I have to say, and even in pharma, when I was pharma, I always took proud of not working in the weekend. So for me, it was family, my kids, my partner now. It's just that I'm not saying that I don't open my computer to quickly answer quick email, but I try not to work in the weekend.
Sure.
I work hard during the week, but not during the weekend.
You have to manage your own you time and family time. You have to manage that and create.
If not, you're going insane.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And you lose the passion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's real. So tell us in as much detail as you can for an audience that might not know what you're talking about. What exactly does your company do?
So that one medical, we specialize in helping foreign manufacturing company of medical device to enter the U.S. market. The U.S. market is every country has their own approval system, their own way to for hospital to buy. If you're in Canada, it's a public system. In the U.S., you have a mix of public and private systems. So those are complicated for a foreign company to understand exactly how it works. So, and we serve, the small startup, small to medium-sized company, not the big one. The big one, usually they will have an office in the US already. They have their footprint, but all those small ones, and there's tons. I'm grateful to be in this industry because you see so many young, small company, launching product. That's like, you say, wow, it's crazy, especially with AI now, where there's no limit what people can do and bring onto the market. So there's tons of those small companies they want to try with the US. They say, they look at the big market, and most of the time, what they think they understand of the US market is here, but actually they're way off. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to help them to enter the US market and being a one-stop shop. It sounds cheesy. However, that's really what we've built, and we get the feedback from customer. That's what we are now, meaning that we will manage the importation because we are registered with the FDA as an importer of medical devices. We added, warehousing capacity. Again, they're a small company. They want to keep a small inventory of their product in the US because international shipping costs or custom issues, prevent that. So we keep an inventory of their product, and we can do the domestic shipping to hospital, distributor, whoever. They need a reimbursement strategy. They need product registration with the FDA, distribution. So really, we try to say, okay, sit down, relax, tell me what you need, and we're going to help you out. So that's what that War Medical is, really helping, those foreign company. And like I said, we serve over 100, foreign medical device company right now to help them to enter the US market. And it goes from basic product like glasses and toothbrush are medical devices. People don't know that,
Sure.
Condoms are medical devices,
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but okay.
Yeah. It's actually a class 2. So um to up to C-arms, big devices, for interventional radiology or interventional cardiology,
Yeah.
spine product, orthopedic products. So everything in between, that's what we do, helping those companies to bring their product in the market here in the US.
So that's amazing. But let's talk about it. When you say helping to bring their products, are we talking a marketing effort? Are we talking a compliance effort? Are we talking uh, how the market receives the product and actually wants to utilize it with physicians? I mean, what do we when we say help them? Like, what are we talking about?
I think the first step is usually when a company reach out to us because they saw a Google ads that we do outside the US,
Sure.
or a reference from another customer. We get that a lot now. The first conversation that we have on a Zoom meeting is usually more question and answer, where we all we there's a lot of education to be made, with them. Sometimes it's not because you have a product and that you look at the US market, they say, okay, we're going to launch it. And in 6 months, we're going to make millions of dollars. That's not how it works. So a lot of time we have to do a lot of education and teaching us to bring them down to the reality. That is, reality check is the first thing. Try to understand, do they understand the US market or not? Because here in the US, if you sell to a hospital and you bring a product that nothing is available like this in the US, nothing, it's a new product. But my first question to them is that, how is it going to get reimbursed? And they're like, what? Well, somebody has to pay for the product. So how is it going to be reimbursed? What's a CPT code? I don't want to be too technical, but so people's like, oh, I don't know. Okay. First of all, you need to know that, so we can help you. We have a lot of different consultants that we work that's more specialized in, for example, in reimbursement. So we're going to work with them, to try to understand what will be the reimbursement, because you cannot start selling and the hospital will say, well, how am I going to get paid? So you need to know that. We so we do that, and then when they know how to do it, they have a sales strategy, because we ask them, so how are you going to sell it? Well, we're going to find distributor. Have you started to find distributor? Well, not really. Okay. What kind of distributor? Are you going to look for a stocking distributor, or are you going to look for a 1099? So those people are based on commission. They don't know. So we do that a lot, those education, talking a lot with them. We don't get paid all that time. We don't get paid. We're not a consultant in that sense that they pay us per hour for what we're doing. That I wanted to do things differently, and I think it works in that sense. And people appreciate that. And so when they understand everything they need to do, sometimes they will come back to us 6 months, a year after. This morning, I had a conference call with a company a year ago. We started a discussion. So when they feel that now they're ready, I say, okay, now we can help you. We can help you to find distributor. We can help you with the importation, because the FDA has a regulation where if you're a foreign company and you want to ship product in the US, the buyer, mostly the distributor, needs to be registered with the FDA as an importer of medical devices. 95% of domestic distributors, they're not registered with the FDA because it's too expensive for them. They prefer to wait that the product is already in the US and just buy it here in the US. That doesn't mean it's a US product, but product already in the US, so they don't have to deal with the importation part. So because of that, foreign companies, they have difficulty to find distributor. So we act there as their importer of their medical device. They go through us, to sell to a distributor or to an hospital Amazon won't do the initial importer part. They say we don't touch that. So if you sell through your medical device through Amazon, you need an importer who's registered with the FDA. So we do that for them. Then, like I said, the warehousing, the distribution. So that's usually, the three big pillar is really, importation, warehousing, and distribution of their product. And everything else they need, like a reimbursement strategy, marketing strategy, other type of consultant they need, custom broker. We can help out because we have a lot of consultant that we work.
One-stop shop.
We are. And I'm pleased to say that we are, because we get that feedback from our customer. That's what we are.
So, okay. Now, is all of the revenue your company generates provided by the client, or are you getting revenue from the client, revenue from the other side of what the client needs, and making that connection, revenue from the other piece the client needs, and for making that connection? How does it work?
So I started to build the companies essentially at the beginning with the importation part. So I registered our medical with the FDA and started to get customer. Now, it's, every week we have a new customer for that. That goes, quite well now. And the next phase was the warehousing, because we were getting, requests for that. Now we have two warehouse. We need to maximize that. So and the distribution is the new thing that we're offering to using our sub distributor or 1099. So what I did, I hired, a sales and marketing person. So his role is mainly to manage that, make sure that the warehouse is full of customer, and initiate those relationships with matchmaking between manufacturing company and potential distributor in the US. I will say, outside of that, if we refer a customer for, reimbursement strategy or a custom broker, whatever, we try to do in a way where it's more an exchange of services. So we send customer to them, they send customer to us. Because, if you are a consultant in reimbursement strategy, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have a customer that at one point will need an initial importer or warehousing capacity or distribution. So that was my decision to work with
clients, bring you more clients.
Yeah. Instead of asking for, okay, if I refer you a customer and, they give me, I just keep it clean. It's easier that way. And it's working for us. We have that exchange of, people sending us customer, we send customer to them. And also in my mindset is to keep the costs as low as possible for my customer. Because if I get money in between, that means that my customer is paying more for the service he's getting from the consultant. So I just prefer to keep it more clean like this.
How big is your team?
So we have here in the office, we have 5 people. It's a small team, but that's what we need, and in Canada, we have 2 people in Canada. So because we have a distribution company there, and I have somebody in Canada who does data entry. So it's like 8 people, including me, for the Canada and the US.
I got the $1 million question. So you reach it, it's like life should look like this. Whatever is up there is up there. For Stéphan, what's the big dream, man? What when this happens, you're gonna say, you know what? I made it. I did this thing and I freaking made it. What is that for you?
It's funny to ask that, because way before I decided to come to the US, I remember having lunch with a friend in Canada, in Quebec. And I was telling us, I said, one day, I can see myself having an apartment with a big counter, and I see the ocean. I'm telling you, this is true. It's like, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. And we were laughing about it. But God, right now, the apartment I have, okay, I have to go in my balcony to see the ocean, but still, the vision is the same. I'm that kind. I can see outside. I see the palm tree. I see almost the ocean. So I guess dream they do come true. It was probably in my back of my mind, but my dream right now is really to solidify what we have. And I I I I want to. I'm trying to empower people here in the office that they can run that business without me. That's my goal. So I can just do whatever I want. Maybe take consultant, job, just or travel, explore, starting a business in South America and Europe, whatever, or just grow the business in Canada. But that's what I'm trying to do to empower people here, so I can go on vacation and they don't call me. So that.
Put it out there, Stefan. I love your the whole plan there. That's awesome, man.
And I'm almost there because I was 2 weeks in vacation in Europe 2 weeks ago. And it was the first time in 10 years where I did some work, in the
It wasn't
morning,
like you had to be,
but it
paying
felt
close
pretty
attention.
good because wow, they have it. They don't need me that much,
Yeah, hey, you built a true business. That means you built a true business. That's amazing. That is
Yeah,
amazing. So, we're gonna bring this to a close. But for those listening right now, the people that are med device reps right now, in a specialty like ortho, or spine, where it's a little more straightforward as to how to open up a distributorship and get going.
yeah.
And even for those that want to do that one day and don't have any experience, and then of course, for the pharma reps that want to become med device reps, for all those individuals that want to do what you did and haven't done any of it yet, what's the advice you would tell them? What should they be mindful of as they align their steps to go your direction? What should they keep in account? What should they be mindful of? What should be in their planning? Anything that you can offer.
Obviously, it's very difficult to jump into the distribution ship, and start buying product and stocking product. So that road, it's very very difficult. The 1099 road is feasible, I think, because you don't have to do all this. Um, your network that even that's probably one thing I did when I arrived here in Miami. Networking. Got to the Chamber of Commerce. A different group, being super active on LinkedIn, for example, reaching out to people. Um, I grew my LinkedIn number of followers to like 500 to now 18,000, follower on LinkedIn. So you need to be very, very active. And there's always smaller distributor that are looking to hire young people who has no experience, but they're gonna mold them, and they're gonna pay you on commission with probably a base salary. And I think that's a good way to start, especially in spine orthopedic. Um, or if you want to try to get to the big one, to the striker in this world, I think it's feasible because they do hire young people. But I guess, the first thing is always to get some sales experience, no matter what it is, and to show success and passion about what you did. I don't think it matter. I remember when I was in pharma, people were telling me, "Oh, do you just hire people with a medical scientific background?" No, I hire people who had a bachelor degree in music. One was a lawyer, so it doesn't really matter. It matters what you did with your experience. That's what matter. So I think looking at a smaller distributor who could be looking to hire a new rep at as a 1099 or just an employee of that distributor, but be very active in networking and talk. If you're already talking to physician, ask them who they will be working with, who they like to work with. They can help you out sometime. Put you in contact with different people. Uh, Obviously, headhunter could be useful. I never really worked myself with headhunter. I did use them when I was in pharma to look for a rep, but I think you have to. There's no one way to do it. You have to explore every opportunity you could have to get what you want.
Yeah, one last thing to do, uh, Stefan. Are you ready for this?
Uh, of course, yeah. I mean,
Right. This is called the lightning round. I'm going to ask you
okay,
4 questions, and you have less than 10 seconds to answer each question.
okay. I have ADD, so it's sometimes for me it's hard to focus.
I'll go slow. Okay.
Okay.
First question. What is the best book you've read in the last 6 months?
Oh, that's so funny. So I just went through Europe, and Canadian, French Canadian, I was exposed when I was very young to a comic book like Tintin, for example. I don't have it here. So I bought one of the one that I like, Tintin in America. That's what I'm reading right now.
Wait. So
So,
how do
and
you
I
say
love it. It's
it one more
bringing me
time?
back to my childhood.
Say it one more time.
Tintin in America.
How
So
do you
it's
how do you spell that?
Tintin.
Tint.
So it's a Belgium writer. And I went to Belgium, this 2 weeks ago. So I was, oh my God, bring me my childhood. So I bought this, original new version of that, and I'm reading that right now.
Oh, that is awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out. That's Tintin by who? Who's the author?
Hergé, so Herge, Hergé.
ERG. Everyone,
Yeah.
that will be in the show notes. That is amazing. Okay. Second question. What's the best TV show slash movie you've seen in the last 6 months?
Okay, it's gonna sound so cheesy. Cheese comes.
No, there's no judgment here. This is a safe space. Go ahead.
Okay, I I'm a big Netflix guy.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing a lot. Watching Emily in Paris.
Amy, I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Emily in Paris. That's and then American woman, in marketing goes to Paris
Uh-huh.
to work with a French company,
Uh-huh.
and you feel that difference and culture.
Cool.
It just make me laugh. And maybe because I'm French Canadian and the French
Yeah,
part,
yeah,
I understand how the French could
you
be
identify with
sometimes,
a lot of it.
the
Okay.
Parisian how they could be. So, but I'm also a big, sci-fi, guy. So everything that's in on Netflix, I will watch all of that.
We'll take it. Amy Lee in Paris. I'll have to check it out. Okay, and then what is the best meal you've had in the last 6 months? We want the restaurant, the and the item. I'm sorry,
Well,
and the location.
okay, well, it's going to be a tough one for people to go there because it was Les Petits Oignons in Belgium, in Brussels, um, during my vacation. It's a
You better
French.
now you gotta tell us.
Well, every time we go on vacation, we try at least once, to have a very nice meal. Doesn't matter the price, but
Yeah.
at least a very nice meal.
Yes.
So that was the one. Was not far from our hotel. Les Petits Oignons, so
Okay.
a small onion. It's kind of weird in English. Um, and just everything was just perfect. The service, the way they treat you, the wine, the fish, everything was just fantastic. I think everything in the menu, and we took like that, 5 services, they bring you. Um, it was just fantastic,
Okay,
just
say the name one more time.
les petits oignons
Les Petits Oignons. So in Belgium.
in Belgium, yeah,
And
in
anything on the
Brussels.
menu is a winner.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That will also be in the show notes, folks. And the last question, Stefan, last but not least, what is the best experience you've had in the last 6 months?
Oh, the best experience the last 6 months. Well, like I said, the reason I work so hard, I like to take vacation, and when I take vacation, it's the time of the year where I can relax. So I will say that my last vacation, so because I had one of my friends, she got married in Prague, in a castle, fancy stuff, that was fabulous, so beautiful pictures, like it was the first time in my life that I was buying a tuxedo because it was black and white. So I just enjoy that time so much. So I would say that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for the time today. You dropped so many pearls of wisdom. We can't wait to see what you continue to do with your fantastic company. And thank you again for being on the Medical Sales Podcast.
Thank you, Samuel, for having me. Take care.
And that was Stéphan Toupin. Wow. What a journey. I love guests that have experiences as diverse as his. I mean, gosh, to go from pharma and then to manager and then to opportunity and then med device and then to entrepreneur and now sky's the limit and he's living his best life. It's fascinating. I love learning about these stories because they inspire all of us, right? I mean, how do you not hear that and think to yourself, whatever I'm trying to do, there's a chance I can make it happen. And that's why we share these stories. So if you're someone that wants to get into the industry, you already know what I'm going to say. Visit evolveyoursuccess.com. If you're someone that wants to get better in the industry, you already know what I'm going to say. Visit evolveyoursuccess.com. And if you're someone like him that maybe you're in the industry or maybe you're not, but you know that at some point, at some time in the future, you want to have your own distributorship. You want to have your pick of the litter of what devices you get to sell, or yes, what devices you get to sell to whoever you like and get the devices, whatever you like. And that's the business you want to be in, or maybe you've heard about it and you're thinking, gosh, that'd be really cool. You already know what I'm going to say. Visit Evolve Your Success. Fill out an application, schedule some time with one of our specialists, and this is what's going to happen. If you want to get into one of our programs like the Career Builder, where you can get into the job of your dreams in medical sales, and we go as far as to literally help you find what specialty you should be in and why, and then don't stop working with you until you're actually in it. You're going to talk to one of our enrollment managers, and they're going to discuss with you that program. If you're someone that wants to make good on the job you have in medical device or pharmaceutical or any kind of medical sales, and you want to get to Winner's Circle or President's Club or just get your numbers up, you're going to talk to another one of our enrollment managers, and they're going to talk about the Sales Builder. And if you're someone that heard this episode and you're thinking to yourself, how do I talk about that? Who do I talk to about that? Again, fill out an application. You'll talk to, again, another one of our enrollment managers, and they will route you straight to me if necessary. If this is a passion you truly want to pursue and you have the means to at least get started. So listen, the Medical Sales Podcast is here for you. We create these episodes so you can learn everything there possibly is to learn about in medical sales. And you can navigate whether you want to be a part of this community or whether you want to make new moves within the community that you're in with medical sales. That's why we do this. So this doesn't just exist for you to listen and learn. This exists for you to interact, meaning we are your resource. If you got questions and you're ready to get started on something, don't hesitate. Go to the website, fill out an application, and have a discussion, and let's get you to where you want to go. As always, we do our best to bring you guests that do things differently in the medical sales space. So make sure you tune in next week for another episode of the Medical Sales Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a customized and personalized program that gets you into the medical technology industry as a sales professional or any type of role for that matter. Become a top performer in your position and masterfully navigate your career to executive level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolveyoursuccess.com by visiting our site, filling out an application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and allowing us to get you where you need to be. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews on the Medical Sales Podcast.